concept called the digital journey. And you hear these buzzwords like robotics, automation, artificial intelligence. What does all means in the concept of the digital journey? We've embarked on this over the last couple of years, and we've learned quite a bit trying to do this on our own. And I just want to share a couple of those things before I introduce our partner. We've introduced or written our own robots in our environment. We've deployed several hundred. We've written our own chatbot called Lisa. So when you go to do your open enrollment, you have this chatbot that helps walk you through it. Those of you who've done open enrollments for other organizations, you're seeing these chatbots now to be able to help guide you along a process or answer questions for you. There's a lot of back-end intelligence that goes with that, and we've done all of this ourselves. We've customized it. And the challenge that we have is we have to support all this, and we have to rely on our internal expertise. And it's been a challenge for us over the years. So we actually, this year, embarked on a very large strategic partnership with Wipro to help us along with this journey. So it's a multi-year initiative for us, and it's a strategic partnership that we decided on. So some of the lessons learned, obviously, when you go through this journey, many have, is really understand the business use cases. What is important to the business, because you can quickly get bogged down with pet projects and try to boil the ocean. So starting off with those specific use cases, getting wins, and then iterating from there is really important from that perspective. The other thing before you embark on homegrown solutions, there's a lot of providers out there. There's Wipro, there's IBM, there's a lot of others that have invested millions, in some cases billions of dollars into these platforms. And so being able to rely on a partner sometimes is a good thing to look at. So I'm pleased with that and with this journey that we're embarking on to actually announce our next presenter. When he asked me to, what name do you go by, he said, just Ravi. I said, is that like Prince or Madonna? He told me not to say that, by the way. No, but he's very well known in this space, and he's considered a digital champion. He's been at Wipro for about 3 years now, and prior to that, he was with TCS, or Tata Consulting Services. He's helped many organizations through this transformation. He's going to share a little bit about not only our journey that we're embarking on, but things to consider as you go down this path as well. So with that, I want to invite Ravi up to the stage and walk us through some of this.
Hello everybody.
Hello.
I know it's afternoon and lunchtime, but I'll try to keep it as interesting as I can. So what I'm going to do is to share some experiences. As Jason said, some of the experiences. First of all, Jason, thank you very much for that kind introduction. So the experiences that I'm going to share today are basically twofold, right? What do we do and what are we doing? There's a lot of jargon, there's a lot of things that people talk about, but how do we do it, and what are the key steps that we need to follow? What is a digital transformation? Is it DevOps? Is it buying a bunch of new tools, adding a new platform to the store? What is it? You have to innovate for a purpose in the context of the business that we are. That's fundamental. If we do not increase our velocity, our business will not be able to stay ahead of their competition. Increase the high value tasks. For that, automation is fundamental. It's not a best in class, it's not a good practice, it is fundamental. But how to go about it? We look at it 3 major steps. Think first, machine next, and then automate right. What we mean here is, there's no point automating everything. But at the same time, you need to identify the key areas where you feel there's maximum benefit to the business and it is extremely relevant for the business to stay ahead of their competition. Then you throw the machine at it, give a context to the machine, and in that context, you automate right. Get the basics right. The run organization or the run business has to be stabilized before you think of any transformation. Today, we are in a position that we can look at BLAs, where in every business transaction, if you do not tie your support to business, then the business will not have any relevance for you, because this is the age of Alexa. As they say, Sunday's technology has overtaken Monday's technology, right? We have a legacy, we have history, but a lot of flexible systems have made lives very easy. So how do you handle change? How is change management managed with the botified enterprise? Because everybody has bots. And today we are in a situation where we have automated processes, we have bots which manage these processes, and then we have bot governors, bots to manage bots. That's the cycle, that's the change. And all this will give you about 30 to 40% savings, and more importantly, a frictionless experience to the business. I'm talking about, say, an order to cash process, which leverages a bunch of applications. Some of them are cards, some of them are mods, some of them are bespoke. You should stay away from mods, by the way, if you are looking at TCO. And then that's its on infrastructure. Infrastructure could be your own data center, it could be cloud, doesn't matter, because the business, remember we are looking at a business context. Everything that we do needs to be connected to a business context, and that leverages on data that is generated every minute, every ticket, every service request, every change request. That forms the intelligence on which you build your next strategy. Strategy does not come from outside. Strategy comes from within your own data. Get that right first. And then when you mine and you analyze, the strategy speaks for itself. Today, things have evolved so much. Cognitive automation and cognitive technologies have improved so much that if you feed the right data lake to it, the solutions just appear magically. That's what we call it, auto magic or magic due to automation. In order to restructure our teams, how do we restructure? Here's a sample. On the left, you see the traditional org structure that we're all familiar with: PMOs, business analysts, developers, testers, and so on and so forth. On the right is what we call the DevOps in the DNA model, wherein you have pod structures, where pod stands for personalization on demand, where the size is completely dependent on your context and complexity. But what essentially this is built on, it fuses roles. A Scrum Master is asked to reskill or add a second primary skill, take up the basics of ITIL, understand what is first time right, backlog management index, MTTR and other matrices associated with support, or vice versa. Now, how do you make your geeky developers accept gleefully to do support? It's not interesting at all to them. Gamify work. How do we gamify work? Not by giving badges or points, but driving the right behavior, instant gratification. Because the workforce, the nature of the workforce is also changing. We have millennials coming in. You've got to be ready. If you are not already ready, you're late. You create a Lisa for your own employees. Add value to your employees. Make them enjoy work. Provide knowledge at the point of need. There's so much of repository in every organization, but people don't know where to find what when they need it. Provide those kind of contextualization within the company for our employees to be more productive. The moment you do that, there's more stickiness and there is more collaboration within the team. We call it collaboration. Collaboration is teams compete with each other to collaborate. Now once you have your base, which is automation, base for the run business, then you have restructured your team. What do you do next? You start looking at your enterprise very differently, and we look at a value max kind of a quadrant system where we can look at applications where every pod, which is the true business partner for that functionality or set of applications, the pod owner is usually mapped with the product owner, and together they sit down and then they see, well, what do you do? Which applications you rewire, which ones gets rehosted or re-engineered or even reimagined. And most often than not, they are part self-funded because automation gives you that. But all this can be aided. Once you get your automation platform, you have your team structure right, then you have your teams working together to innovate on the job. They need a fundamental tool. We call it the GPS for the enterprise. It enables us to trace from business requirements to source code and back and forth on a real-time basis. So now you have all these dots together, you connect all the dots, and that's when you get the blueprint for awesomeness.